What's up, Elite people? Just out of curiosity, how do you know if you're doing it right? I don't know if you know this, but in my office at work, I actually keep a shovel on my wall behind my desk. Mostly so that people ask about it. Thought I'd tell you guys about it.
Everybody wave!
Even the dog's riding on the trailer. I got the laziest lab in the world. For those of you that are curious, this is Bayou Boudreaux. It runs right through our property, and it's awesome. We get wood ducks back here, and we have all kind of little wildlife that love to come and drink out of the water here. So we have tons of deer and raccoons and coyotes and bobcats and all kinds of fun stuff. It's a red-tailed hawk. Boy, I sure wish I could get a shot of that guy for you guys. We have several of them that live on the property, and they're gorgeous. They fly around all the time. I know they're responsible for killing all my ducks, but they're too pretty for me to do anything about. If I gave you a field to go dig in, and I said, look, this field has diamonds and rubies and emeralds and pearls and pieces of gold and pieces of silver. Somewhere between 1 and 10 feet deep, there's like 4 20-carat diamonds buried there. And I handed you a shovel and said, there's the field, what would you do? And believe it or not, I've asked that question before. And some people say, I certainly wouldn't go digging. A lot of people say, I guess I'd start digging right now. And my question is, if I gave you that shovel and handed it to you, how would you use it? Would you use the sharp end, or would you use the handle? If you're familiar with a shovel, then I guess you would know. But you'd be surprised how often I hand somebody a shovel and say, show me how you'd use it. Or I'd tell somebody, describe how you'd use it. And they go through all kinds of motions, and I start describing how you can use it better, and they go, oh, I didn't know it was supposed to be used that way. And in fact, in that scenario, if somebody grabbed that shovel, went out in the field, and started digging with the handle, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just not the best way to use a shovel. And if they started digging with the sharp end of the shovel, and they weren't stomping on it to try to get it as deep in the dirt every time they pulled a little dirt out of the ground, they're still not using it the best way possible. And there's even more to the technique if you start talking about it. And for some people, they start talking about using shortcuts like, I'd go buy an excavator and start digging it up with an excavator, which is not a terrible idea. But the problem is, for the guy who's next to you digging with a shovel, over time, he's going to start to develop callus, and he's going to start to develop muscle, and he's going to get better with using that shovel. And over time, he's going to become very, very efficient with using his shovel while you're using your excavator. And let's say you have this huge excavator with a big old bucket, and you can dig really fast with it. You dig that big bucket of dirt out, and you swing it off to the side and throw it off next to you. How many shovels of dirt have you missed by doing that? Meanwhile, the guy with the shovel next to you is getting better with what he's doing, and he's getting more efficient with what he's doing. And then your excavator runs out of diesel, or one of your hydraulic lines goes down. What are you going to do then? Because if you jump out of the cab and you start digging with your shovel, you've not developed those callus, you've not developed those muscles, and the guy who's been doing it with the shovel all that time is a whole lot better than you are. And the reason I use the analogy of the shovel is because when I look at a shovel, I can't think of anything but work. But the only thing you can really do with a shovel is work and dig, right? And so it's my analogy for all work or all things that I do. My question to myself is, when I'm being daddy, when I'm dealing with my friendships, when I'm doing the things that I do as a physician, when I'm talking with you guys. Which end of the shovel am I using? And sometimes I have experience with what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm doing it the right way. And then later I find out that I wasn't doing it the right way. There's a better way to do it. And I have to readjust and get good at the better way. Sometimes I'm just not sure, and the thing about having a shovel and thinking about the concept is that I can always go and find somebody who has more experience than I do, and hopefully I can get some good advice. And as a matter of fact, we did a video talking about seeking wisdom. I'll link that right there for you. But in all things, question whether or not you're doing it right. Question whether you're digging with the sharp end or the dull end. Go out and seek advice when necessary. And definitely do look for ways to be more efficient. Just don't look for shortcuts, because in the long run, life is better when you do the hard work. Hey guys, if you like what you're seeing here, make sure you subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell. And as always, get fired up, because if you're not fired up, you are doing it wrong. Well, I got myself stuck. It's a good thing we have a winch. So some of you know,